Moving across the country 6 months ago gave me the opportunity to put 10 years of chicken keeping to the test in designing the perfect chicken coop. Last time, we designed a mobile chicken fortress. This time, we're gonna make it look exactly like a tiny replica of my barn, put in some finishing touches, make it a lot more automated, and make it work for the chickens as much as it works for me. This video is brought to you by the Real Milk Paint Company. I built this coop almost 4 months ago, and while I had every intention of doing these finishing touches back then, life got in the way and it took me a little bit longer than I thought. Living with the coop during that time did give me some great insight into the things that I still needed to add or to fix to make it truly the best coop I'd ever had. So I loaded the chickens back into it, pulled it over to the barn, and got started adding those details in. The first thing that we want to do to make this thing more useful is to put some doors in to collect the eggs. These will open up this way, we'll be able to reach right into the nest boxes and get the eggs. Bonus thing here is that when that gate is closed, it is a whole lot easier to put chickens in or out that may or may not have made it in by bedtime using these doors. So because I'm going to use a jigsaw to cut this out, I'll just poke a quick hole here that the blade will be able to go through. Now, because I want to economize on this plywood, I'm going to make this cut very carefully, because we're actually going to use this same piece for the door. Once I've properly marked to know which piece goes where, we're ready to turn these into some doors. I've got the trim cut up here. I'm going to use a shaker style trim so that we don't have to do a bunch of miters because once again, this is a chicken coop. No matter what I'm building, whether it is fine furniture or stuff around the farm like this, something that is always a big head scratcher for me is what to do with the hinges, the door openings, and the latches. And here, it made the most sense to use strap hinges and to flush mount the door here by routing a little escapement back for the barrel of the hinge. The hinge was a little long, so I went ahead and cut that off. Now this is going to work absolutely perfectly. In this project, you're going to see a whole lot of my nerdery come out. And one of those comes to how we're going to actually paint this thing. If this is really going to be a tiny barn, of course we have to use traditional methods to paint the tiny barn. Enter Real Milk Paint Company. This company is based right here in Tennessee, and I actually was already very familiar with them because it is the paint that I've used on every single Windsor chair that I've built and several pieces of furniture that I've built as well. This stuff is super awesome. It actually comes in a can just like paint would, but it's actually powdered, which is really cool for a lot of reasons. First of all, because you can mix up exactly how much you need, and then you can preserve the rest until the next time that you want to do a project. Real Milk Paint is a 100% organic, no VOC paint that actually got its name from milk, because the main ingredient in this is casein from milk. So of course when I got a milk cow, I was like, oh, maybe I should start making my own milk. Got a little bit too involved there, and thankfully right down the road here in Tennessee is the Real Milk Paint Company. They have paints in 56 different colors, and you basically just take a 1-to-1 ratio, put that in there, get my little 1-to-1 water ratio here, beep, 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 beep. At least with chair making, the most common problem that people have with milk paint is that it bubbles too much. So Real Milk Paint has this anti-foaming agent that you can actually just mix in that somehow science works and it miraculously gets rid of all the bubbles. Here we go. Oh, it looks so much better already. Milk paint is especially great for people like me who are very impatient because it's pretty much immediately dry to the touch, which allows you to put on multiple coats quickly. With this guy, we're probably gonna have to do 2 coats, but the good news is both coats can happen in 1 day and 1 sitting, because by the time I've painted over there, it'll be ready to paint this side too. I'm so bad at painting, oh my gosh. Well, no problem. I've been keeping chickens for 10 years, and I've built pretty much every kind of chicken coop at this point. And so much of the things that we do with farming are basically like, what do we have? How can we make it work? when it came time to build just another chicken coop, I surely could have just made a little shed design that would have been much quicker, and this whole project probably would have taken 3 days and been done with. But there's something to be said about taking things that could just be boring and ordinary and taking a little bit of extra time and attention to make them extraordinary. Because this coop is actually super practical and super helpful around the farm. The fact that it's mobile allows me to bring the chickens all around, and it helps us keep our fly and parasite levels maintained with the animals. And all of the automated things like the water collection and the ease of collecting the eggs that this coop offers are just bonuses. For people that know me, it's really no secret that I actually really don't like chickens, but they do offer a whole lot of positive benefits for the farm if managed properly. And that's kind of what this coop was all about, figuring out a way to manage my chickens in a way that, you know, makes them less of a pest to me and more of an asset to my farm. In that, having a tiny barn gives a little bit of extra joy every time that I look out and see a miniature version of my actual barn hanging around in my yard with little chickens all around it. I just think that it's cute, it's funny, it's unique, and it makes having chickens at least a little bit less terrible. The last few things that are going to make this truly a tiny version of the barn, good night, are a cupola, obviously, and a barn quilt. You already saw my incredible painting skills, so you'll understand that I had to incorporate the help of my business partner Josh to paint that for me, because the purpose that this is going to serve on the chicken coop is that it's going to hold this little solar powered light, which will help keep predators away at night, but also will light my way if I ever have to come out to the chicken coop. A little outdoor defense oil will seal the whole thing a little bit better against the elements and make the color pop. I think, my friends, we have a tiny barn. Aside from just being mobile, the other thing that makes this coop super useful to me is this automatic rain collecting system. And it not only collects the rain, it delivers it right to the chickens inside. Up here we have a little catchment thing that I can open up. Also a great place for me to put any kind of additives to their water. Maybe it's really hot and I want to put some electrolytes in their water or some apple cider vinegar. All that's there, it's got a nice lid. Coming from this faucet down here is a little hose that's gonna go into the coop and fill up this automatic waterer. These are made by my friend Farmer Brad, and they're really great products. Now that all the finishing touches are done on the coop, now that I get to see a tiny version of my barn out in the middle of the pasture with happy chickens running around it, I am so pleased with the result. This is exactly the coop that I needed for this season on the farm. The chickens have access to all kinds of free food, they have protection from predators, a safe place to roost at night, they're automatically getting good quality water falling from the sky, and it's super easy to collect the eggs. Did I mention that it's mobile? If you're interested in building a coop like this of your own, check out animaltrades.com for the plans as well as a much more detailed instructional video to accompany them. If you like this video, make sure that you subscribe with the bell on, and I have tons of other homesteading videos for you on my channel. I'll see you in the next video. Cheers! And I want to put some, do you mind? Oops, well. Oh yeah, it wipes right off. Oh, typical, typical. Dun, 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 dun. Are we close to the center yet?